And we're back for another episode of the Real One Garage podcast, the podcast which keeps it real and relatable in the car community. And that's what we're all about. Today, I have another interview with a content creator at this point. And honestly, I'm excited because I get to learn things from him. I have Donald Tam, a photographer, content creator, videographer, a man of many skills. And he's going to give us a background on content creation and his own personal story. So, welcome to the podcast, Don.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
Well, it's honestly a pleasure and a privilege to have you on here. I've actually wanted to talk and chat with you about just all the endeavors that you get to experience as a photographer and a videographer. Yeah, I just wanted to first start off with, as I said before offline, on how we first met, and you had indicated that we met at the Driven event. That was back in 22, 23 timeframe, right?
Yeah. That was when
Yeah.
I was taking photos at car meets and I bumped into you in
Yeah.
your awesome car.
Appreciate it. And I do appreciate it a lot because as awesome as it is, it's awesome on jack stands in the garage upstairs right now. But hopefully it can show its splendor one day when I have some time in order to maybe get some more photographs done by yourself and showing it all its splendor again.
For sure, for sure.
But just to start off with, just a bit of background on yourself, if you could introduce yourself and how did you get into cars?
Well, yeah, like Jamal said, I'm a photographer and I got into cars, I guess, shooting cars. I got into shooting cars like during COVID. At that time, I just graduated. It was um, it was a very difficult time to find a job at that time. So I just went out and I started going to these little small car meets and I had my camera with me, so I would just start taking pictures. But if you're asking about like when I started realizing I was a car guy, I think that would probably be when I was like a lot younger, when I was surrounded by friends and family who were into cars. The whole, Fast and Furious franchise started blowing up. I still remember the day when I went into the theater with my brother and a family friend to watch Tokyo Drift. I think I was underage at that time to be going into that movie, but they still let me in. So it was definitely very memorable. And then it kind of just spiraled on from there, playing like racing games, going to the arcade. Yeah, that's kind of just how it kept going on and on with car things.
Okay, that's honestly probably most people's main start. So Tokyo Drift was the first media that actually really kind of started the flow of everything, eh, for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
The
yeah, that was
JDMs.
I think that was like 2005 or six around then.
Yeah,
That
very
came out.
very early to me.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. It's unfortunately people can date my age based on that because that was when I got my second car. So I can definitely attest because I actually drove my 240 to the that movie, and
I
we
didn't know
went
you
to
had.
the AMC Plaza
Okay,
um, over near Courtney Park and watched the movie. And I don't know about you, but I was a young impressionable kid. Whenever like I watched something that I knew I had the ability to do something or other in that kind of thing, I'm trying to drift my car in the parking lot and stuff like that, thinking I'm cool. Like yeah, it was definitely
days.
an impressionable movie. And video games, hands down, as you can see through my background, are a big thing for our age as millennials. It definitely inspired me as well. So like I'm guessing like the games, what were like the main games that you used to play? Like Gran Turismo, maybe?
Yeah, Gran Turismo. There was this other one on like the PSP. Actually, Mario Kart is like a racing game to me, so it's still like fun.
Oh yeah, hands
Yeah,
down.
I had a PSP. I would play on that. Even like the online like games where like you could race other people. Like I would do that. As you can, I don't know if you can see, but I have a sim behind me, and I'm trying to get into that.
Oh yeah, I didn't actually notice that. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah,
Did you just get
yeah.
the sim?
I just got it recently. I'm still just waiting to build a laptop or build a computer, sorry, a desktop, so that I can run the system. Yeah, I'm hopefully getting into that. Um,
No, sim racing is a big thing nowadays. I see a lot of people actually getting into it. Even professional racers are actually going online and racing just the regular people online. I know Max Verstappen, the F1 racer in Red Bull, he's a strong advocate for that.
Hmm.
And then many of the content creators that I watch on YouTube all have sim racers to basically either get some seat time or train themselves to get seat time
Hmm.
for the real deal. Like for example, for Formula Drift or something like that. So no, it's definitely an outlet. I have a sim rig myself, but I guarantee it's nowhere near the capabilities you have. I'm just using it for Gran Turismo and stuff like that. Just
Yeah, I
regular
mean,
console. I'm a console guy.
that's my plan, right? I have it, but I don't have it set up yet. So
Mhm.
we'll see where that goes.
No, that's cool, man. That's congrats again on it.
Thank you.
It helps during the Canadian winters, right?
For sure.
For sure. So, in regards to again your car background, I guess what car did you dream of getting as you were growing up and getting more into the car community? And what was your first car?
I think my dream car, and it's growing up, and it still is my dream car, is an R34 GTR. I know it's like kind of cliche. A lot of people have that as their dream car, but it's the nostalgia, I think. Like growing up with a Paul Walker, and just the presence of the car itself is like pretty incredible. Now, there's obviously more than one dream car, but if I had to pick one of all the dream cars, I think it would be the R34 GTR.
Okay. How do you feel about the market as it stands now for 34 GTRs?
The price is just gonna go up. It's something not a lot of people understand. Like it's kind of like with houses, I guess, but cars are a little bit different. The way you have to kind of choose the right car for that car to appreciate. Like even my old Honda Fit, which was my first car, I bought it for just under 6K, and prices are going up, and it's because there's like a cult to it, right? There's like a huge cult following for it. Considering how it's my dream car, it's a dream car for a lot of other people too. So the prices just keep going up. It's legal to be imported into the US now, so that just makes it even more expensive for Canadians to purchase it.
Hands down, hands down. I never actually asked because I didn't know your dream car up to this point. We never actually had that conversation. But did you ever get a chance to drive or ride in one as a passenger as of yet?
No, surprisingly not. And surprisingly, I've actually never even done a proper photo shoot of an R34 GTR.
No. Okay.
I would see them at car meets and everything, but I've never done like a solo 34 GTR photo shoot before.
I think we're gonna have to make that change. I have a friend with a 34 GTR, so maybe I'll be able to leverage a favor, and it might be mutually beneficial to you and him to do that. And maybe we can work out a ride along as well, so you can get that experience, so it can
Yeah.
inspire you. But you're right, exactly. The market has significantly changed.
Hmm.
I don't think it's a wrong thing that the market changed, and I don't think it's a wrong thing that, as you mentioned, it's. I don't find it cliche that the 34 GTR is your dream car because it inspired so many people in the medium that was movies and video games in our past. So that would and they used to make that the king car of the games and the movies as well, right? Obviously, Too Fast, Too Furious had a huge impact on everyone. And then even the movies going forward, yeah, you've seen it in Tokyo Drift, a couple cameos, but then in the fourth one as well, that was the main hero car as well for a bit that he drove. So I understand the 34 GTR. I have to say this, you might find this a shocker, was my dream car. It was my dream car. I did pivot because obviously I have a 32 GTR, and the only reason being is because and this is a whole another podcast topic in itself again, but the prices for GTRs itself, I find are, and you guys can nail me to the wall for it, are ridiculous. Because I grew up with Nissans. My first car was a Nissan 240 SX. A lot of the parts in Nissans are used in multiple models, right? And aren't very much different. There's a lot of S13 parts that can be used in the 32 and vice versa, right? Just to know that when I first started looking at 34 GTRs, and I think this was back in 2014, 15, when they became legal, the price for them were still maybe around, like, I'll speak in Canadian terms, about, I'd say 40 to 50 grand, maybe. And you could find it for cheaper. I'll say that.
Yeah.
To now them being like quadrupled in price and higher than that, depending on if the color of the car wasn't made in high numbers, which the car wasn't made in high numbers anyways. It just And as you mentioned, also with the U.S. now being open to buying things, and when it comes to the U.S., they're willing to pay any price because their dollar is the currency of the world. It does. What's the word I'm looking for? It fractures the market, I guess, in terms of the people who are able to afford them and the people who are not. So I do still hope that you are able to get one because I my friend just bought one. I think it was maybe a year or a little bit more ago. The price wasn't astronomically high as it is now, or at least the ones I see online. But I still hope you are able to get one because, yeah, they're great cars. They're fun cars. But just, I will, not to burst your bubble at all, but it is a Nissan. So you will have to put work into it. And that's the thing. A lot of people think about these cars and like, oh, yeah, they're indestructible. They think they're the Batmobile, but they unfortunately are not. They're good cars. They're strong. And I'll be honest with you, most Japanese people at least, do take care of their cars. So you hope to get one that is decently taken care of. But you will, it is a 30-year-old car or almost 30-year-old car. It is going to take work. It is going to take work. I think the biggest thing that actually also bothered me was the fact that the price significantly changed in a decade from because we were able to start importing them in 2014 and now they started to be able to import them in 2024 in the States. And because of that, I think half that decade, so 5 years into that, so 2020 is when the prices really skyrocketed because everyone was buying them and storing them in
Hmm.
Japan until they could bring them over here. Otherwise, prices were, I'd say, decently reasonable until then. So, nonetheless, I hope you can still get it. What was your, not to segue too hard, but what was your first car that you purchased?
Yeah, so my first car was my Honda Fit
A Honda Fit.
that I think you've seen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was something I picked up in 2021. And yeah, it's no longer with us because I got into an accident. But yeah, that was my
Oh,
first
as
car.
long as you're okay, that's the main thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody was okay. That's all that matters, really.
Yeah. Cars are replaceable, people aren't.
Yeah.
And that's what always has to be sometimes said in our community. The value of the person. I think we don't say enough that, like, it's great that you had a Honda Fit and it looked amazing. I'll say that. It looked really amazing, but it's the person behind the car that matters. That's what causes the camaraderie among the community. Car is just the tool for that. It's the expressive tool. So I think I think that we have to also focus on that. So that's cool. A Honda Fit is definitely an economically feasible purchasable car. I think more
Yes.
people should actually look into those as
That,
well.
that's why I bought another one.
Yeah, no, yeah, and we're gonna get into that as well. Because yeah, you bought another one, and that one looks good too, man. Trust me. And I know you probably think it looks good, but there's issues with it. There's always issues with old Japanese cars, man. You
There's,
got to make them
there's
to what
never
you
there's
want.
never a perfect car, right? Like there's
No, no.
got to be
And
something
and
wrong with it.
and you wouldn't want that because a perfect car you don't have to do anything to. The whole point of being a car enthusiast like ourselves is to personalize the car to our own vision.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So then just to do another kind of segue, when did photography come into your life?
Are you asking specifically about car photography or
In
just
general,
photography?
photography in general.
In general, I think like growing up, like I had cameras, like family cameras, digicams. So I would, go around taking pictures on vacation, family pictures. And then it really started to get bigger when I was in like high school. I took a photography class. I borrowed my brother's DSLR. And then when I hit university, I started working as a school photographer. And then I started doing a lot more street photography, even going to car meets back then, like Driven, right? Back then, Driven was a lot bigger, and there were a lot more cooler cars being flown out, shipped out to Toronto. So I would go to these events and I would take pictures of that. A lot of portraits, a lot of urban exploration. And so I kind of did a lot of everything until COVID hit, and then I started really diving deeper into specifically car photography.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Was there a person or a group that inspired you in terms of your style when that started, or as it is now?
To be honest, no. I think I follow a lot of people on Instagram that I like their styles. However, I don't think I personally have a style. Um, I think I'm still looking for that. With Instagram nowadays, I think a lot of people kind of focus down on one style and it makes their feed, really uniform, really pretty to look at. However, when it comes to taking pictures for myself, I feel like there's no wrong time or day, no light, no perfect lighting conditions. So I think I kind of shoot whenever I can shoot. And so my passion is in photography in itself, and it's not like focusing on shooting at a specific time of day every single day. Golden hour is considered the best time of shooting. However, if golden hour isn't available, then are you not going to photograph anything, right? Like that's just how I think. So when it comes to style, I think there's no specific style I'm really looking for, but I'm still looking for one that I think might be very all inclusive, right?
So you're very much eclectic to just pivoting to what you need.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'm considered a pushover, but when it comes to photographing like client cars, I kind of adjust my schedule to them because maybe the weather's not good that day. Maybe in Toronto we get 4 seasons of the year, so there's not really a perfect time to shoot if that opportunity doesn't arise. So I kind of just pivot myself and work around what works.
Sorry, I'm still learning how to use cameras as well. I'm still here. It's just the camera sometimes auto
Yeah,
turns
yeah,
off. I forgot to let you know. Still technical difficulties, folks, that I have sometimes, but don't worry, I'm getting better. And that's why we have Donald here. He's gonna let me know what to do afterwards. But okay, no, that makes sense, man. And so you're still evolving in terms of
yeah. Yeah.
your.
I'm still looking for that specific thing that I really, really like, and it will be like the end all of all the styles I've kind of done over the years.
No, that's fair. All right, so then we're gonna go into more of the photography kind of portion of it. So, did you have any like early struggles about getting gear, getting clients, editing, like any struggles that you could let our listeners know of? Just because sometimes you got to go through the trenches in order to get out of it, right? And learn what to do and make it easier for yourself. So, anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think especially with automotive photography, because I've been doing it for a couple of years now since COVID, I've realized that it's a very difficult niche to be profitable in. When it comes to car guys, let's be frank here, like we're car guys, we're considerably like cheap, you know. We would rather spend our money on building our car than paying someone to take photos of our car, right? Like how often do we do that? And there's so many photographers out there. Everybody's looking to get a piece of that pie. So I think when it comes to getting a client, it's definitely not easy, especially with how everybody and their mom these days are photographers. They use their phones, right? And these things are incredible, right? They can do basically just as good of a quality as my camera can do. And so if everybody has one of these, who needs to pay for someone to take photos of them and edit them properly when all they're doing is just chasing likes on Instagram. It's funny because I had an actual scenario where I messaged someone and I told them up front like, hey, it's gonna cost X amount to do a photo shoot, and then he replied, well, so and so did a photo shoot for me and it got this many likes. And at that point, it was like I was really like kind of turned away from it because he was chasing likes and views and he wasn't chasing quality work. And so that's the kind of mentality people have nowadays with social media. It's like they're just chasing follows, they're just chasing likes, and they're not chasing the quality work. So it's definitely not easy to find someone who's willing to pay for your time and for your effort, especially with how much you've invested into the hobby.
I could definitely understand where you're coming from. As soon as you said that, what came to mind initially is a lot of people, especially when you get the rare cars, right? There are a lot of new up and comers, as you said. Everyone's a photographer, and it's funny. I had a similar analogy used with one of my other guests on the podcast, where everyone's a welder. He says something is just out to buy a welding machine, right? But with that being said, it's still that doesn't mean it all equivocates to skill and the time to hone your skills in regards to your passion. And I think what I want to ask then is because I think this might also be somewhat detrimental in your line of work is a lot of people kind of just doing the free work a lot of the time. As you mentioned, the person said, oh well, another person did it and it got this many likes, but likes don't always they don't translate to the bottom line. You still have to make a living. You still need to eat. You still have the necessities of life. And I wanted to ask, is that good is there a good side to it and is there a bad side to it? Because I can see it a little bit both ways, but I can see how it being detrimental to you trying to, at least get some form of compensation for your skills. So do you find that when a lot of these new photographers are kind of doing free work, mind you that it is freelancing, but it doesn't mean free work. Do you find it detrimental to just I guess the game of photography in general, in terms of being able to make it a actual paying career?
I think there's nothing wrong with doing free work in the beginning. Everybody has to start from somewhere. I started from somewhere and I didn't charge people, but there needs to be a time where you need to put your foot down and you realize that hey, I'm at the point where I think I'm good enough to start charging people. And from that point on, you start charging people. Because if everybody's just doing free work and then there's these couple of guys who are charging people, what stops these clients from just going to the people who are doing it for free? Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, these clients with these cool cars, they're not chasing for like that quality of a work. They're really just chasing for some photos that they can post on Instagram to share and to get some likes. And at the end of the day, your likes are not, they don't depend on maybe the quality of the work, right? There's a lot of factors that go into getting those likes on Instagram, getting that following, right? It's not always about the quality of work that you're putting out there.
It's a
So
formula.
yeah, there's definitely some thought put into it. Like if I can take a video with my iPhone versus a couple $1,000 setup, that iPhone video might blow up, but that couple $1,000 setup might only get like 100 views, and people get turned down from that, and then they just end up going to who can do it for free, right?
Yeah, and as you said earlier on, like a lot, unfortunately, and I wouldn't say it's everywhere, but not to put down our car community, but yes, a lot of, at least here in Ontario, like a lot of people, as you said, it can be cheap a little bit. They don't want to pay for decent work or even decent service, because it's not only just the work, it's how you come up to the person, how you're acting, how you're interacting with the person. You're paying for a whole experience, right? And you're a really just upstanding, polite person, Donald. So I don't think people realize there is a cost to that you should be willing to, compensate for as well, because there's some people that can be very difficult in terms of conducting business with. So
No, I
you have to
sometimes
have
I
a line of
yeah,
sight.
go ahead.
No, just saying you have to have a line of sight on what you're getting in terms of the value of the work you're getting, right?
No, like sometimes when these situations arise, I kind of have this thought in my head, like when you go to McDonald's, do you ask the cashier for a discount, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't. And these
no.
are corporate companies that you're dealing with. They make billions of dollars versus when you go to someone who's freelancing, to a kid who's, just trying to take some pictures of cars and you're asking them to do free work or you're asking them for a discount. This person is trying to make a living here and he's just doing it himself, right? He's paying
Hmm.
for camera gear, he's paying for software and everything, but you're asking for a pretty big favor when you're asking for a discount in comparison to when you go get fast food, right?
Yeah, I think the size of the corporation makes it, as weird as this sounds, is reflected through the employee, so it's a little bit more intimidating. But nonetheless, you still have to kind of understand it objectively, and it's still a business. You're still a business. You have a bottom line. They have a bottom line.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. You want to ask for a discount. Okay, you have the right to do that, but you're already tarnishing the relationship there from that there on, without just like, taking in consideration, seeing what kind of work the person's doing, seeing what they might have in their portfolio, and say, you know what, I'm aligned with that. I'm okay with that. That's what I want. And unfortunately, some people can't see past the end of their nose in regards to things like that. So I wanted to ask, and I've never asked or seen if you've done this before. Have you ever shot rollers yet?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay, and that's another part of the dangers of your type of work that you're doing, that people don't consider that you should rightfully get compensated for. So, first of all, how is it doing those kind of things, shooting in different environments and cities versus meets versus rollers? Like, how do you discern, for like how you're going to do it and what you are going to potentially say, okay, this is going to be valued at this is going to be valued at this? Is it usually, obviously for rollers, like a higher price piece of content that people are going to be paying for?
Yeah, so rollers, there's a lot of things going on and it takes a lot of preparation and organizing to make sure those rollers go smoothly. Well, first of all, you're gonna have to be in a car, and someone else has to be driving a car. So when you're talking about compensation, if I'm getting paid, well, my driver has to get paid as well, right? Unless you bring your own driver, but at the same time, I'm putting myself at risk, right? I'm hanging out of a car, maybe. I know nowadays, you have camera gear that can just suction cup on the back of your car, and I love the way that that's going right now because that makes it so much safer. That makes it so much easier to do rollers. Um, but when I started, right, I was, hanging out the window. I was, hanging out the trunk of my car, my hatch. That's one reason why I bought Honda Fit, right? It was because the hatch opens and I'm hanging out with a strap on and everything, making it as safe as I can make it, but still, getting the best photos I can. And so, yeah, there's a lot of factors like, where to do it, right? Where can we go that we can get up to speed? Where can we go where there's a nice background? A lot of people don't consider the background when it comes to taking pictures of cars, but to me as a photographer, it matters quite a lot. And then, we gotta be in a place where there's not a lot of cars going by, getting in the way of the shoot. Yeah, like rollers are definitely something everybody really wants to get of their own car. It's just finding the person who can do it right is not easy. It's a lot of technical skill, and you just need to have, a team of people who can actually make it happen. And it was until maybe like last year or 2 years ago, I got into a pretty memorable experience where I almost got caught by the police. And yeah, it was very memorable to the point where like I kind of stopped doing it because I was hanging out the trunk, right? So I kind of stopped
Not
doing it and I
safe.
started investing into gear where I can just like suction cup it on the back of my car. Yeah.
Well, that's yeah, it definitely would be memorable. Any of those, anytime your heart's pounding because of potential run-ins with the law, it definitely will,
Yeah.
you'll remember it because you'll remember not to get into those situations. So I could definitely understand that. And yeah, that's another thing. Like again, you doing those kinds of shots and videography and photography, you're putting yourself at risk. And the person, especially in our community, hands down know that you're not technically supposed to be taking these kind of risks. There's no permits that you're going to go get and shutting off the roads and stuff like that in order to do this. You're taking a risk. So yeah, that's another reason why you deserve to be compensated for this because it is a risk and sometimes life threatening. To be honest with you, I know it sounds a little bit morbid there, but it is the truth. So yeah, I definitely can see the difference. Do you have a preference of what you think does better based on like for content these days in terms of like static rollers or reels and stuff like that? What do you think usually does better these days?
It really depends on a lot of factors, right? Like the algorithm plays into, the audio you're using, are you, the quality of the video itself. But I think in general, rollers definitely do really well because there's like a wow factor to it. The car is, moving with like, the background's moving, there's cars in the way. Rollers definitely tend to get a lot more attention. But at the same time, a static video or photo of a really nice car can do just as well.
That's good to know. But I see what you're saying in regards to it because it probably would take a bigger production team for yourself to do this. Getting sports cars performing in the way that they're supposed to perform and getting the shots on those. Obviously, the wow factor, as you mentioned, is going to be huge because that's what people want to see. That's what people want to experience. And if they can't do it themselves, they want to see it being done and enjoy that visual appeal, that euphoric visual appeal of it. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint a picture of that through your photography and your videography. So no, I can see why those shots would do well. But yes, if you can do it right and you've honed your skills enough, you can get static shots to do just as well, or sometimes even better, depending on, of course, the vehicle, the tool that's being used in order to perform better. So yeah, I guess it would be easy to transition into like the content creation, social media part of this interview. What platforms do you focus on in terms of social media with where you do most of your work, or at least show most of your work?
I mainly just stick to Instagram. That's just where I've seen it work. I know TikTok is very easy to blow up, but as a photographer, I think Instagram just made sense because you can post pictures. On TikTok, you can't really do pictures. But the virality with TikTok is definitely a lot easier than Instagram. So, eventually I want to get into to posting more on TikTok if I can, even like on YouTube, right? I have a YouTube channel where I, do like my car meets and I film those and then I post it on YouTube, whether it's just for my own personal memorabilia or for, the car meets organizers themselves, I'll post it on and I'll tag them and I'll share it with them. And I think I'm still like getting there with the video work. I'm not personally, I don't think I'm that great, but yeah, that's the platforms that I use.
Okay, no, that's great. And I guess, you have to start out with one at least and then try to replicate any success that you're getting and putting it into another, right? That's usually how it works. Have you personally had any, I guess you could say, struggles or things that you're just like, damn, this one did well. Why isn't this one like dealing with the algorithm struggles? I guess you could say.
That's the thing, like with the algorithm, it's very hard to really know what works, what doesn't work. Personally, I think just follow the trends. If someone has made it work, just follow and replicate what they're doing, right? I think there's a saying where it's like the biggest compliment is like imitation or something. Like if you're imitating someone, like it means that like you like their work and it's good work, right? So and if it works, then it works. So yeah, I think if you can, find a trend that is blowing up, if you follow it, your video, your photo will probably blow up as well. Now, if you can start a trend, then that's like another level, right? Like you start something and then people start sharing that video and they start replicating it. And so the original video that you started, it's definitely gonna blow up, right?
Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I also wanted to kind of go into the car scene that we have here in the GTA, and it kind of obviously ties into your content creation on social media. Now, the reason I say that is there's two things. What I wanted to know is what do you? I know you said you pivot depending on the scenarios that you're in terms of like when you're doing a shoot. But I know from like that just what popped into my mind immediately when I thought about that is that when you did that reel with the fits, and I think it was at a gas station. Yeah, and it was at night, but there was good lighting. That was one of the most awesome things I've seen that day. And I follow a lot of content creators and a lot of different cars. It was just cool. It was just so cool because I thought it was your white one. There was one that looked like it had like kind of like a spoon kind of thing going on or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I guess what I want to ask is how would you describe the car scene in Toronto in relation to finding the best spots to do shoots, to film content for cars, whether it's daytime, nighttime, and has it transitioned from when you started doing car content to nowadays? Like you've had to pivot in a different way, and as you said, what time of the day you shoot, or when to shoot, or finding places to get more content.
I think the car scene in Toronto is definitely very diverse. You've got your European car group guys with their BMWs, and then you have your JDM guys. There's definitely like the show cars and then the track cars. And so I guess it really depends on the car. And like I said earlier, I like to adjust my style of shooting to, the client, right? So if they're looking for like an urban shoot, then we'll do something urban, right? If they're looking for a nature shoot, we'll do something nature. There's definitely no like best locations to do shoots. I think it really just depends on the lighting. If the lighting is good, the car will look good. Your footage won't look grainy or anything. If you ask me, a shoot in the woods, depending on the cars, would be really cool. A shoot at a gas station, because gas station lighting is immaculate. It'll look really good, right? So there's definitely not, in my opinion, perfect location. It really just depends on what you're trying to achieve and I guess the lighting conditions, right? If it's a night shoot, then you find a place that's got, like a dark vibe, but still has good enough lighting for it to show the car's, body lines and stuff like that.
Do you find it more difficult based on what you just said to find those decent parameters of shooting when you're doing street shoots compared to show shoots, and then even I've seen you at the track. I'm guessing track shoots are a little harder depending on the lighting you're getting, the overcast and everything like that, right?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of like looking for locations, I'm I guess my brain is kind of wired to just always look for locations as a photographer. You know, when I'm driving through the city and when I'm driving to go grab food, I'm always like looking for potential locations that I can take photos at. Now, like you were mentioning, like the lighting, and I mentioned it earlier because of the weather conditions we have in Toronto. The lighting condition is a hit or miss. If I'm at the track, it's usually during the daytime, and if the sun is beating on you during the midday, your photos are going to be pretty overexposed. Now, obviously, there's equipment that you can purchase to help with those scenarios, but yeah, like in those kind of cases, like you really can't do anything other than just keep shooting, right? And you learn from experience from that. So yeah, that's there's lighting is a very big factor when it comes to getting good crispy photos, and you kind of just have to either spend a lot of money and get those equipments that can help you in those scenarios, or you just go with the flow.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, we'll get a little bit more personal now. So I guess it's going to be about your car and your personal builds. So I did see that, as you mentioned, you had your Fit and you have a new Fit as well, which again, congratulations on. And we know which car you would uh, buy if money was an issue, which is the 34 GTR. What are you trying to do as a car enthusiast with your car in terms of like what is your build style?
See, when I first bought my Honda Fit in 2001, I was still very new to owning a car and doing things to cars. Over the past like 4 years, I've definitely learned a lot. From the content creation side, I love documenting my car build. So I really learned and put my hands into it, my blood and tears into building my car. You know, I would be working on my car at like 2, 3 a.m. And even last night, I was cleaning out my new car until like 5 a.m. And it's a lot of work when it comes to building a car that you like. And so I think, in my opinion, what I want to do with my car is because it's a daily driver, it's just got to be comfortable. At the end of the day, it's a car, so it has to get you from A to B safely. I'm an aesthetic person. As a photographer, I like to look at pretty things. So I want to just make the car, look, pleasing to the eye, a little bit more eye-catching rather than, a typical daily driver. I know Honda Fits are like economical, they get you to A to B and they're basic commuter cars. But I want to kind of change that and with the whole Honda Fit cult going on right now, there's definitely a lot of people looking at fits nowadays. So I think I've contributed a little bit to that kind of cult. So yeah, I think I had a really cool car, and unfortunately we don't have it now. And so my goal with this next one is definitely to be a little bit more chill with it, not be too like in your face, but still definitely pleasing to the eye to look at.
Sure, sure. I can attest to what I've seen in the content that's going out in the social media nowadays. Yes, you are one of the people that has contributed to the drawing on the Fit now. I also think it's cost related. The Fits they're reasonable as the car market goes these days, and then also with gas prices just going astronomically through the roof, that also is a big appealing factor to people buying these cars. And I can also say that I can appreciate as a guy who used to do this when he was also a teenager into university, and I think it was only recently, yeah, recently, within I'd say my late 20s where I just transitioned. I used to drive my sports car as a daily car, whether it was my T's or my 350. I used to drive them as a daily. Not the smartest thing, to be honest with you, in terms of the choice of car to drive as a daily, but I can understand it, and it was feasible to do it back in the day. And if I was the same person and I in the same situation, I probably would now be more inclined with the knowledge I have to go with your vehicle as a vehicle to enjoy being part of the car enthusiast community, as well as being able to have an economically feasible car that doesn't break the pocket. Because I'll tell you right now, and I'll let you know this as well for your your dream car. 34 is not a daily car. 30 Skylines GTRs are not a daily car. The gas you will watch as soon as you hit 4,000 RP. Yes, 4,000 RP. You will watch the gas gauge literally drop, and tears will fall out your eyes in the amount that the gas is being sucked out of the car. Sports cars are meant to be enjoyed for spirited drives, fun Sunday drives and stuff like that, or once you've had a long day and you're trying to decompress. So I think the Fit was a definite goodbye. Which what what model and trim? Sorry, it's a fit, I know, but like what spec is this fit and year that you have now?
So the one that I have now is a GK5. It's a 2018, and it's
Okay.
the last generation North America got.
Okay.
In Japan and Asia, they got a fourth generation, but in North America, they stopped at the third one just
Okay.
because it didn't make sense for them to continue selling like such a small but economical car when everybody was going towards like SUVs. And then the first one,
And the Civic is the staple here for a lot of
yeah,
us.
yeah, 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 yeah. And
Yeah.
just price wise, like the cost of a Honda Fit when they were still selling it here was just around the price of a Honda Civic, and you get so much more, I guess, horsepower, bang for your buck kind of thing with the
More
Civic.
car.
Yeah, it's more car exactly, right? But with a Fit, it came with the practicality sense. And if you're thinking about practicality, then like in terms of cargo space, then why don't you just get an SUV? And so that's how Honda thought, and they discontinued the Honda Fit.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll say that when I went to Japan, there were a lot of fits.
There
A
are,
lot of fits.
yeah, they're like everywhere. Every time I saw one, I took a picture of one, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, you did go to Japan, right?
Yeah, I went to Japan like 5 months ago, four or
Yeah,
five.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, so you would
Yeah.
have seen it. You probably even saw the Fit hybrids because they have hybrid
Yep.
fits there.
Yep. Yep. They
It's like
have
it says Fit Shuttle hybrid thing. It's
yep, they have
a little bit
hybrids.
bigger
They
version.
have they have hybrids. They have all-wheel drive fits.
Yeah.
They have everything that we never get.
Yeah, honestly, I was so surprised but at the same time and you can definitely understand the size of the roads are so narrow compared to us. So it just makes sense. And that's another thing that they have every one of their cars, even to my car, auto folding mirrors so that you could fold your mirrors so people don't knock off your mirrors and stuff like that. Those little small intricate creature comforts on the car. I'm guessing you did some research as well in regards to what they have in terms of the difference of their fits compared to what we get here in terms of the trim levels, right? Is there like a huge difference?
Yeah, so actually, with all three generations that we got in Japan, they're actually smaller. They're actually shorter. Like the bumpers are tucked in. It's not that there's no crash bar, but their crash bars are a lot smaller. So their bumpers can actually go in a little bit more in the front and in the back. Like you said, the auto folding mirrors, that wasn't an option for us to even get if you were to purchase from the dealership, right? That's something only Asia got. I even looked into it, and you could definitely wire it in and make it work, but it's work that you'll have to do yourself, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunately a little bit of the pain in the butt. I actually had to do something similar with my 240 because they did offer it here, but they're very few and far between. I used to be able to go to the junkyard to get them. In the same way that you had the feature of the auto folding mirrors, the 240s, they also had, and you might even have it too in the Hondas because some of them have it, some of them don't. They have these little lights that you could put at the bottom, like footwell lights and stuff. In the old 240s. If you ever get a chance to look into an S13 and you want to just look under like the where the glove box is, there's a little hole there that you could put a light in. So when you get in, you can see the footwell and there's one for a side door panel and stuff. Those, as much as it may seem silly, it's the forbidden fruit for us that these things always catch us because we're like, why can't we have it? I want that. That looks cool. Like, and if you see that for like a fit in Japan, you're just like, is that possible that I can transplant the same kind of little feature on from that fit to mine because it looks cool. We didn't get that option, so I get it, man. It's it's unfortunately it feels like sometimes when you buy something here, it feels like it's a world away with the Japanese equivalent. Canada, you need to upgrade the amount of options we have on these cars, man. You'll definitely get more people wanting that. So yeah, no, that's awesome. So I do have a question. What is your or at this current time is your favorite car that you've had to shoot,
Favorite car I've had to
other
shoot.
than your own, obviously?
Frankly, as a photographer, I don't really like shooting my car that much. I don't know. It's something with photographers actually. It's common.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite car, and definitely one of the more memorable experiences, was a BMW. It was an M4 GT4, and it was created in collaboration with a dealership and a designer, and they designed the car, modified the car specifically for a BMW competition that was like up in in Quebec or Montreal, something somewhere over there. And the car actually ended up winning best design, I think, for that year. And so after it won the award, they were looking to do a lot more photo shoots, and so I got to photograph the car. I got to join the crew on locations when they were filming the promo video of the car. And then I got to meet the owner of the car, and I actually ended up being really good friends over the past few years with the owner of the car. So it was definitely a very memorable shoot and a very unique car because that kit on the car is not something you can just purchase. It was only actually really made for like race teams. And so they were able to bring it in from Europe, from Germany, I think, and they were able to put it on the car specifically just for that competition.
That's awesome. That's once in a lifetime for some people, man. So I'm glad you got to experience that. That's awesome. And what I'm even more happy about is that it wasn't just a JDM car; it was a Euro car. So
Hmm.
it seems that you don't, as much as you may have a preference for ownership, you don't have a preference for shooting. A vehicle's a vehicle. It's unique in its own right, whether it's domestic, Euro, or Jap import. And I could definitely tell that based on that memorable moment that you had, just from your expressions alone, that it really hit you in the feels. You'll definitely always remember shooting that car, especially given the fact that you probably have the pictures.
Yeah, it's really about the experience that I have with the car, with the owners of the car, and really just how the car is built.
Mm.
I don't I'm not like prejudiced towards, specific JDM cars or European cars. I think I like JDM cars and then Euro cars, but really if it's built very nicely, I have nothing to say against it.
No, that's fair. No, that's good. That's good. That shows your humility, man. Yeah, I've always realized you're a very humble person. So that's good.
Thank you.
No ego there. No ego at all with you, bro. So just in the interest of time, just have a little bit more to ask. And it's more in regards to your future. So like where do you see your content going? Do you have any goals in regards to it? And any cars in the most recent future that you're looking to get some photos or some videos of?
Content wise, I've really focused the past few years on short form content on Instagram, and I focused it mainly on building my own car. I'm sure you've seen a lot of my DIY videos or like
They're
just my
awesome. They're
experience
awesome.
with. Thank you. Yeah, or just like my experience with cars at car shows. However, I think cars aren't really everything in my life. I definitely do and have a lot of other hobbies that I enjoy and would love to share. So I'm trying to pivot away from just doing car content and really just document my life and make that kind of my thing. I've always wanted to like, do that, and I'm really trying to put that, into plan and make it an actual feasible thing. So yeah, that's kind of where my content is trying to go towards, and just like vlog my life, document it, and really just document it for myself, not really for other people. I think I would love to just, in 20 years, 30 years, I would love to just look at these videos and remember what I did. And it's like a photograph, right? Like a photo paints, a thousand words, I think that's what it says. And it's if I took that photograph and I remember that photograph, it's a lot more to experience than if I took a photograph and I just showed it to someone. They'll just see what it is and there's no context behind it. And
Yeah,
so yeah, I
a picture paints a thousand words. I think that's
yeah.
the expression. And yeah, I definitely understand where you mean by that in terms of documenting your life will kind of show so much different experiences through the location, through what you're taking a picture of, through what you're videoing of, through your expressions, through the excitement, the joy. So many things can be shown through a picture or a video. So I get it. I understand that. Is travel a part of your goal, I guess, then to
Yeah.
experience more?
Yeah, like it was my first time in Japan last year when I went with my parents, and I got to see so much more of the world, right? Like you see all these videos of Japan online, and you always want to experience it in person, and I finally got to do that, and it like blew my mind, like to the point where I was like, hey, I could live here. It's so awesome.
Honestly, Japan, I try to explain it to my fiance. It's a different world, man. And I thought I knew I wanted to potentially live in Japan from even back when I was in university because I was trying to initially go to the JET program. I got a little derailed, which is okay. I have my kids now, so it was definitely worth it. But no, Japan is just, it's just next level. First of all, and I as a I could think that you can speak this from a photographer point of view. It's so illuminated, like everywhere is so illuminated. Lights and are a main part of the aesthetic, especially at night for Japan. Then just the placement of everything seems like it's in the perfect place. They make use of space so meticulously that it's just next level. And then, of course, I'm sure you experienced too, the humility and the respect factor that's in Japan is it's. I haven't found a place that's comparable, to be honest. And I've been to some places in Europe, and I also have a lot of European friends. As much as Europe has its own artistic nature and culture in terms of their buildings and their cars and stuff like that, Japan's just different. It's really different. I want to ask, did you get a chance to go to Daikoku Futo or any of the common places that
I
we
did
know of?
not. I did not. Again, I was with my parents, so we were there only for a week in Tokyo, and
Okay.
my job as the son was to take my parents around. So obviously, I didn't get to do all the cool car things, but we did get to see some cool car shops. I went to A Pit, Autobox, typical like things that I could do, and obviously we didn't rent a car or anything, so we couldn't go to Daikoku.
Did you guys travel around via taxi, I guess?
We just took the subway, the train.
Oh, did you take the metro or the J line?
We took the metro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I have to say this. If you do end up backpacking around Japan with some friends or by yourself, I always show this thing here. You probably can't see too much of it. It's a J Pass. I'll show it to you offline as well. I'll take a picture of it. This Japan Rail Pass is like the golden ticket. We can only get it as foreigners, and you basically pay for this based on the time frame that you're going to be staying in Japan and needing the travel. And you could take the JR trains, the JR lines. They're a little farther than the metro lines, so they're usually about a 50-minute walk from where you're usually staying. And funny enough, that how they structured up Japan, it's like that. But unlimited, unlimited.
Yeah, so they actually have something very similar to that for the metro line too,
Oh, they
and I think
do?
that's what we used.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know that they had it for that. And the reason being, because my friend, the content creator Albo, he dropped me off to the Metro line one time, and then I was just like, "Why am I paying for this? I swear I paid for this already." So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they had a kind of, I guess you could say, a transit pass for the Metro lines. So I just use this because this also works with the Shinkansen.
Mm.
So I use this to go because I was bored one day, and my friend Albo was like, "Hey, why don't you go to Kyoto?" I'm like, "What do you mean go to Kyoto?" And he's like, "I do want to go, but like, how am I gonna get there? It's pretty expensive." He's like, "Yo, you have a JR pass. You can take this." And I'm like, "Really? I thought it could only go on certain lines." Nope. Went right there, put it in. I was on the line. 600 kilometers later, 200, in 2 hours, I was in Kyoto from Tokyo, and I went back the same day, and I went to Osaka as well. So this is a great tool in the case you ever need to go back to Japan. I think it's gone up in price, unfortunately, but definitely a great tool because that's the other thing about Japan that people don't realize. A lot of the real reasons because that people have no problem letting go of the famous sports cars that we now covet here with the R34, the Supra, the Fit, the S2000, anything, is because they don't get a lot of time to drive them. It's a hard working work culture there. So
Yeah.
when they usually do it after they've done working for the day or on some of the many holidays they get nationally, but they have what we don't have, which is a biannual inspection every 2 years. So when you're going to have to pay taxes and fees on the car and have to repair the car to a certain level, it just gets expensive, and it unfortunately for them, which is it's understandably so, they're just saying, "What's the point? I shouldn't spend money on an old car. I'm not going to do this. I'll get rid of it." And that's why a lot of the JDM cars have a lot of the low mileage because they're just like, "Yeah, I'm not going to pay more." And every year it just keeps getting more and more to own these cars. So you don't really need to drive in Japan. And also they have toll booths, something we don't have here, and they're like every 10 20 kilometers. So you're spending like 13, 14, maybe 20, $30 every time, depending on the size of the car. So yeah, there are great things about Japan. There are things that Japan, you wish you didn't have to deal with, but there's always the good with the bad. So I hope you actually get to go back there because honestly, I have a feeling that when you go back there, the amount of things that you're going to take pictures and videos of that we can see is going to be beyond my expectations. So I hope you get to go back there soon.
Yeah.
So I won't hold you up any longer. It's been a pretty good podcast, and I really appreciate your time, Donald. Man, I think it was a long time coming that we needed to do this, and I appreciate you doing this for us, me and the listeners. So where can people find you? What are your socials so they can take a look at your work? And if anything, if anybody wants to reach out to, commission your services, where can they find you?
Yeah, I think if you want to see more of my car DIY stuff related to my Honda Fit and my experiences with car culture, definitely on Instagram. It's Donald Tam underscore. And then if you are, I guess, looking for car photos, car videos, you can definitely hit me up at my dedicated Instagram page that I only post car stuff, like car photo stuff, and it's euphoria.media. Yeah.
Okay. And you also did mention you had a YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is also euphoria.media, and it's pretty bare bones right now. There's only like a handful of videos, but yeah, those are like the longer form videos that I shoot.
Okay. No, that's great. So I haven't actually had an opportunity to look at your YouTube channel, so I'll take a look at it, and I'll if I haven't already, I think I might have, but if I haven't already, I'll subscribe to that as well, man. But again, thank you for coming on the podcast and scheduling the time to do this. It was a pleasure and a privilege, bro.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Thank
Oh,
you.
my pleasure. And thank you, listeners, for taking the time to listen to us again. If you have any suggestions, any comments, please, through any of the platforms that we post this on, Spotify or YouTube, comment, like it if you could, follow us, or subscribe if you like the content, and give me any suggestions of who else you'd like to see. I'd like to have Donald on in the future to see how his progress is with his content creation. And if you have any questions about that, reach out to me or him. But again, this is the Real One Garage Podcast, where we keep it real, keep it relatable. Till next time, see you soon.